Joining me on Take It to the Bridge now is the man behind one of the best and most intriguing debut albums of the 1990s. It's only just been released in the UK, but in America it's already been nominated for 2 Grammys. It's called Pub, and it's by Denzil. And here he is. Denzil, thanks very much for coming in. This is Denzil Thomas.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us, first of all, why is it that you come from Bournemouth?
I do.
You make music which sounds, to a lot of ears, very English, yet this album was released in America before it was released in Britain. How come?
We actually did sign an American deal, so we're licensed to England. This is a licensing deal to England, so it just happened. That's the way it went. I was looking at I was looking at English companies, and they were biting. This was 2 years ago now,
right.
And in the end it was Giant in the States that offered the deal through Warner's that was, you know, I said yes, great.
It's interesting because we're always being told that American record companies now have rather lost interest in British acts. This obviously isn't true, is it?
I don't know. I mean, I can only go by what's sort of happened to me, but the interest in British bands has fallen off in America,
yeah.
but I've got a feeling it's coming back. I get an awful lot of, there are a lot of, I don't know what you'd call them, Britties out there. They're really into English music, and they just go for it. If it's English, they're coming to the show, they're buying the records, you know. Yeah. But I've got a feeling it's something that I'm being told that it's on the up, and the reason is because a lot of American music's on the wane at the moment.
Yeah.
So.
You're being modest, it's because of your album.
Now,
let's talk about this. I'm very intrigued to meet you because, having heard the album and not having met you, I got the idea you were rather an older sort of person.
Oh,
because
really?
a lot of the songs seem to be written from the perspective of rather sad
because I know a lot of
middle-aged.
people that are sad and middle-aged, that's why.
Really?
I mean, I will be sad and middle-aged one day. I can actually look back at them and say, well, hey, there you go. I knew that was going to happen.
But it is a strange start. I mean, it's a very refreshing, very unusual starting point from which to write songs, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but it's all to do with. But you write songs about people you meet, and
that's what you do.
Yeah, and all the people you meet, those often with the most maybe not the most funny stories, but the most interesting stories, have done, you know, they've been through a family, maybe they've been through a divorce, you know, right. Or they're telling you about the stories about where they used to work when they were teenagers, you know, and they have that hindsight, and it's all about sort of grabbing upon that, you know.
So you like songs to tell stories first and foremost, do you?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's I've always liked that. I don't know why. There's always been a lot of songs that I've liked. I've liked I like characters, like the idea of using a character. You know, not all the time. I mean, nowadays I seem to be writing more sort of from myself, but not those sort of deep, oh, I'm so unhappy songs. You know, the same. I mean, the same kind of emotions and feelings as those songs, but by using characters, you know, using players.
And who were your sort of musical heroes, your musical mentors or whatever?
Goodness knows.
Elvis Costello is a name that springs to mind when I listen to your stuff.
Certainly when I was a kid, I loved his stuff. All that stiff stuff I love. I love Ian Dury. I mean, I could go on all day. I mean, you know, when I was 12, I had every Beatles record. So I was very into that sort of big songwriting thing. Yeah. Everything sort of came up through that. I mean, I'm into a lot of contemporary, you know, stuff that is. That's probably a million miles from what I'm doing, but I always listen to a song for a song. You know, if there's a Dinosaur Jr. track and it's a good song, then I'll like it. It's always that sort of relationship between melody and aggression and passion. I like all that sort of stuff. So. Yes,
well, strong melodies and good stories are a fairly rare commodity in songwriting nowadays.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean. There was an argument that they'd all run out, but of course they never run out. Then you'll never run out of melodies, and you'll never run out of stories. So it's just something I liked, and it just seems to work.
So how do you write? Do you get these? First of all, you talk to some sad middle-aged men. You jot down all the tragic circumstances of his life, then you get your guitar out.
When we put this record together, I called it Pub because it really was a collection of stories of people that I'd met in my local pub. Right. I mean, it really is as simple as that. Yeah. And there wasn't some great concept or anything like that. It just really simply is a collection of stories of people I've met. So we, I just put them down. But when it actually comes to songwriting, I have no idea how I write. I mean, there's no, I'll write a melody and then I'll think of some lyrics. So sometimes we have a joke usually, like you know, me and my mates we'll have a joke about something. At the moment, we've got a joke about this what we call the fat friend syndrome, which is whenever there's like an attractive girl, she's always got a friend with her, and we call her fat friend. She's not necessarily fat, but she's usually not as attractive as a friend. And fat friend is always much more interesting than the attractive girl. So you spend all night talking to a fat friend, you know, and then you go home with a friend, you know. So and that's that. I'm writing a song about that at the moment. You know, it's that kind of thing. I mean, everybody knows. It's almost like observational comedy.
The song that you're going to play later on in the show, "Running This Family," which is my favourite track from the album, as it happens. What's that about? Set that one up for us.
It's about. I realised after I wrote it, it's about some people I know. It's certainly everything in it is true about somebody. But I actually started writing the song when I saw two people having a fight, in a verbal fight in a pool hall in Bournemouth over their son. I think it was their son. Right. And they were actually arguing about who's going to get the kid. So it was, you know, it was that sort of like almost a sort of bitch fight about if they'd had this kid, obviously that they didn't want to stay together, and that, you know, I think during pregnancy he left her, and it was like, and they were having this argument. I thought, well, you know, childbirth, you know, when you're hanging around with a lot of people who are like, you know, professional and they've had babies, and they've got all these books on babies and babies, we've got to treat them with kid gloves, you know, and that kind of stuff. And these people have got a kid, and they're having an argument about it, having a fight over the baby. Of course, they're both in the pub. Goodness knows where the baby is. And to me, that's like that's real, you know. That is the you know, there's a lot of things about children being a fashion symbol, you know, or whatever. And children are nature. Children are just there. I always admire those sort of parents in a way, you know. Also, it's very tragic that whole cycle of. I've always thought it's very tragic.
Well, you make it sound quite funny as well.
It is funny though, isn't it? It's like you know, your daughter grows up and you know what she's up to, or your son grows up, you know what he's up to. Dad, I'm coming home late. You know, he's up to the same things you were. This isn't going to change. I'm sure they did it in the medieval days.
Great. Well, we look forward to hearing that one later. What are the album's just been released in the UK finally.
Finally.
And what are you doing to by way of supporting it? You're doing a bit of a tour.
We've got an 11-date tour at the moment, playing all over. Up north, playing in Glasgow. Then I come back down, I've got to do some demos for a new record. Then I'm hoping to play the festivals this year. Great. And also hoping to get another little university tour together before the universities go out for summer. That's what I'm after. Jolly good. Okay. Well, I really like this record a lot, and I thoroughly recommend it. Thanks very much for coming.